class. Today I'm presenting my mini presentation over the comparison between Fire Song, the film we watched, and the article about law enforcement and the violence against people of color. And I didn't really do the comparison between the law enforcement, but I did it more for because it talks about the lesbians and gays and all that in the article as well. So I did it comparing to the Fire Song because obviously that was about um, sexuality and whatnot. But the reason I chose this is because when I went to the Fire Song movie, I didn't really know much about it, so I didn't know what to expect. And it was really touching, actually. It was hard to watch and sometimes because, you don't know what he was going through and everything that went on. It was really shocking how it ended and everything that went on. So it was just something that I feel that should be touched more and talked about. But we talked about in class more about hypersexualization and how it's more against trans and lesbians and gays and that, but more towards how they're seen more as objects rather than people and how they're treated because of that. And uh, I just think that this topic is really important to some people because they have to go through this on a daily basis and we don't, or they have to live the life that they do because of the choices they made, which they shouldn't have to, but that's just how our society is nowadays. Um, and the Fire Song, it was about how Shane, the main character, was gay or bisexual because he had a girlfriend at the same time he had a boyfriend, so he was really unsure of what he wanted sexuality wise. So when he had to figure that out, it was hard for him to do. It was hard for him to open up about it. And obviously, when you do, people see you differently and you get treated differently. And so that's why he was really unsure of why he should tell people. And when you have to do something like that and make a life decision, it's hard to do because you don't want to have to deal with people treating you bad. You don't want to be seen differently. You just want to live a normal life like you should be able to. But for some reason that's a really touchy topic for certain people, and that's just how it is and it shouldn't be. But um, when people open up about that topic, it's hard for some and it leads some down a wrong path because they end up either falling into drugs because of verbal abuse or physical abuse, or are struggling financially, so it makes it a lot harder on them, or it leads to them committing suicide or beatings or shootings or just nonsense like that shouldn't even have to happen because of somebody's life choice. But some people are sick-minded and just see the world differently. And comparing the article and the movie, one thing that the article talked about that I noticed in the movie as well was between trans people and lesbians and gays, and the most common form of abuse is verbal abuse because people say stuff that they can't take back, or that touch is really tender to the person that has to open up and be confident with themselves. But physical abuse, mental abuse, stuff people say can lead you down, can take you down to the wrong path, and can affect you both mentally and physically, which can hurt a lot. And so we talk in class about being who you are and opening up about who you are and who you want to be, and you should be able to do that. But with today's people and society, it's hard to do that because there's so many people out there that don't accept who you are and who you want to be and your sexuality. and they just think it's okay to put people down, which it's not, but that's just how it is, and that should be changed. But in the article as well, like, it talks about police violence, especially against women of color and lesbians or trans. And when people see that the law is able to treat them how they are, which they are not, but they do it anyways and get away with it sometimes, then the public thinks they can do it. And it just opens up a lot more opportunities for the public to think that they can go out and treat people how they want and say what they want and act how they want, which, I mean, shouldn't be allowed. But you should never feel discriminated against who you are and who you want to be. You should always just be able to open up and tell the world, like, this is who I am, this is how I want to live my life, and if you have a problem with it, then I'm sorry, you'll just have to get over it, because you shouldn't be able to affect how one lives their life just because it's not the same as you. So, excuse me. I looked up an article on New York Times, and they talked about how lesbians, gays, bisexuals were the main targets of hate crimes. And this started back, I mean, it's been a long time since it's happened, but they had, dating back to 2005 all the way up to 2014, there were over, well, in 2014 alone, there were over 100 million hate crimes statistic-wise against the LGBT community, which is a lot. I mean, a lot. So it just shows that people out there are doing stuff just because they're not the same, or they don't think that you should be able to live that way, which isn't right, because ever since they've changed state laws where you can get married gay or lesbian, it's caused a lot of stir in the society as well, which you've seen, like the nightclub incident in Orlando with the shooting at the gay nightclub, which killed a lot of people. So, I mean, that's out there, but the hate crimes are everywhere, and there's just really hoping that the law can stop it before anything happens. But that's all I have for you guys. Hope you guys enjoyed. See you next time.